this Hustings event. We're meeting here within the Parish Church of Grace. Just perhaps a word or two about this building if you've not been here before. In its oldest part, which is this central bit, it's Norman, so getting on for 1,000 years old. And it's been a place of Christian witness and prayer and worship within the heart of this town centre for 1,000 years. You might look around and think, well, it all looks quite sort of modern and bright and tidy, and that's because in 2008 it was closed for 6 months for a major reordering project, and so what you see today is as a result of that.
Born in New Road in 1952, and I was christened in this lovely road. I've lived in Thurrock all my life and run my own business, Daybreak Windows, for the past 27 years. Many people are disillusioned with the politics and politicians, and I understand why. The old failed parties, political parties, the Liberal, Labour, Conservative, do not listen to what people want, and many MPs have used their positions to fill their expenses or milk the public purse for personal gain to the greatest possible extent. Nevertheless,
Conservatives. And what I want to do is persuade you that we have the energy, the leadership and the values to make Britain a better place and persuade you to embrace that change. So I'll start by just saying a few words about what we will do if we win on May the 6th. The first thing we will do is fix our broken economy. Now, Gordon Brown said he'd abolish boom and bust. Well, I've got a message for him. No government can abolish boom and bust. And what we've actually got is a government that's sitting on unprecedented levels of government debt, and we're in the longest and deepest recession since records began. So what we need now is to really fix that debt and actually create the conditions for our economy to get moving again. Create the conditions for businesses to thrive, for jobs to be created, and for you and me to keep more of what we earn. So that will be our priority on day one. First of all, we'll start tackling that government spending. The government's own advisors have identified £12 billion worth of cuts. We'll introduce them straight away. And at a stroke, we will make working people better off immediately by scrapping Labour's planned increase in national insurance. That will mean that 7 out of 10 working people will be better off straight away under the Conservatives. Moving swiftly on, we'll also want to be tackling some of the real problems in our society. And by that, we mean really making sure that government services deliver what people can expect. Now, David Cameron has given a personal commitment to make sure that the NHS is a priority.
Because the reason that we're in a lot of this problem, having a lot of the problems we have at the moment with the children, is because there's nothing for them to do. Their parents are out working 2-3 jobs to make ends meet because they're being taxed up to the eyes, locally and nationally, in council tax, the amount that's taken from their wages each month, they're going shopping and extra money's being put onto their food bill, so they're having to work more and more jobs, meaning that the children have got no one to turn to when they come home from school. They're going out, they're stealing, they're smoking, and there's no one there to teach them what's right and wrong, and that's what we need to concentrate on, and that's what needs funding, not things like Islamic organisations which are receiving massive funding from the government at the moment. I understand as well, I've spoke to a lot of people who are involved in churches, which are, we're very lucky here, it's a really lovely church, but there are a lot that need more money put into them, and they're spending the majority of their time raising money to repair the roofs. They can't go out and get people into the seats in their churches because they're too busy fundraising all of the time, and that's something that needs to be looked into. But the main issue, and you'll understand this coming from me, is apart from obviously that side of it, is immigration.
Although policy is important to all of you and to me, I think you also want to know what would make me a good MP and why you should vote for me for that reason. And I think for me, the expenses scandal, the most important thing to come out of that, and when I speak to people, is that people want an accessible MP. And if I'm elected here in over 2 weeks' time, I'll be holding advice surgeries every week, including on Saturdays, and I'll be having monthly public meetings, because I want people to have the opportunity to question me and to get a conversation going. That's the kind of MP that I want to be. And it is startling the number of people who have replied to emails to me in the past few weeks saying, I can't believe you replied. I never thought politicians ever listened. And that's the kind of thing we must change if we want to be effective public servants. So about me and my day job, I work for a refugee charity in London. We help people who fled terrible persecution abroad to integrate in society and to be settled. And as I'm sure you'll hear here many, many times throughout the evening. I'm not from round here. I'm actually living in London. I grew up in Cornwall. And so you might doubt my ability to represent Thurrock. Well, actually, the way I see it is a little bit like adopting a child. I chose Thurrock. I didn't have it thrust upon me. I chose to come here to get to know the place, to get to know you, and even as a candidate, I found this the right place to make small changes to start with, to hopefully benefit the lives of the people who live here. And the reason I chose Thurrock in particular is the reason I joined the Liberal Democrats in the first place. I care very, very strongly about social justice, and I believe that education is the best way for young people to fulfil their achievements, their ambitions. And children are falling behind by the age of 7. And that's not because some of them are less bright than others, it's because their parents are less bright.
Local people in Parliament. Now, over the course of this campaign, a number of people have spoken to me about their lack of faith and lack of trust in politicians, and a lot of that stems from the expenses scandal. And I, frankly, am astonished by the things that some MPs had claimed for in their expenses, shamefully claimed in my view. And therefore, if I'm elected, I will not claim for a second home because my only home is in Thurrock. I will not claim for gardening, cleaning, any of that stuff because I believe that should be funded from your job. I also believe that the MP should commute, like most people do, to London who live in Thurrock.